Welcome everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha. And for the month of July, we are exploring something in Buddhism known as the four Brahma Viharas. For everyday purposes, what that means are the four limitless qualities or the four immeasurables. Thich Nhat Hanh refers to these limitless qualities as the capacity to live with true love. And the four limitless qualities are loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And for the past week, I beg your pardon, we have been talking about equanimity. And yesterday I brought forward Thich Nhat Hanh's definition of equanimity because it has been one that has been deeply meaningful to me, and it's simple and accessible. So to have an equanimous practice, to have equanimity in your life, is simply to cultivate space. The cultivation of space enables us to see clearly. When we see clearly, we understand, which is the first aspect of the Noble Eightfold Path. When we have understanding, we have freedom. So in the wisdom of Thich Nhat Hanh, equanimity is freedom. Freedom from attachment specifically. Freedom from aversion. Freedom from craving. Freedom from anything that afflicts the mind and the heart. But in order to get access to that freedom, we have to create space and we have to cultivate understanding. One of the things for me that trips me up again and again and again and again and challenges an equanimous way of life or an equanimous practice is the nature of duality. How I am constantly dealing with pairs of opposites. And Buddhism, as you probably already know and have observed, Buddhists love lists. It's a way to compartmentalize wisdom, frankly. And so one of my favorite things are the eight worldly winds, these four pairs of opposites that are really categorically defining suffering for us as human beings. And one of those pairs of opposites is praise and blame. So we work with that. We love to accept praise because it's pleasurable, it feels good. And the minute that we receive any kind of blame or we perceive any criticism, we have aversion to it and we avoid it because it's pain. The Buddha described the fundamental nature of the Four Noble Truths as chasing pleasure to avoid pain. So there it is, an equanimity. Equanimity is all about, can you create space for all of it? Can you create space for the praise you're bound to get? Can you create space for blame? Can you create space for the praise you give someone else? Can you create space for all of the times you're activated to want to blame someone else? All we're talking about is, can you create space for this duality, the good and the bad, the positive and the negative? And can you allow that space to inform your understanding? And in that understanding, you will grow. And that growth will release those tensions, release those attachments, and you will have freedom. Easier said than done, right? So today, for our practice, what I want to bring forward to you is something a little bit outside the scope of Buddhism. It is something called the 10 Paradoxical Commandments. And I love this. It's a book titled Anyway. I'm going to show you the title of the book, Anyway. And it's written by Kent Keith. And this guy wrote these 10 paradoxical commandments. He just observed nature, or the nature of humans, basically, and how we interact. And for a student project in leadership in the late 1960s, he wrote this paper for the student body at Harvard. And it was known as the 10 Paradoxical Commandments. Now, this thing was turned into a poster, and people didn't know who to give credit to, so it was written in this poster, this list of 10 commandments, and the author was written as anonymous. And that poster was seen in the office of Mother Teresa in Calcutta. And so she was given credit for these 10 paradoxical commandments, but they aren't hers. They belong to this guy named Kent Keith. Nevertheless, regardless of that little background, these pairs of opposites are extraordinary, and I'd like to share them with you today, and may they be of service to your practice. And so what I'd like you to do is allow the body to assume a posture that is receptive. So I'm moving my body a little bit in my computer chair so I can sit upright, tall, strong. My spine is straight, my belly is soft, my feet are on the ground, and my eyes are turned down so that I can move away from the computer a little bit and have an inward gaze that feels soft and gentle. My shoulders are rolled back so that my heart space is open, so that I can share these paradoxical commandments, these pairs of opposites with you. Notice your breathing and allow your breathing to be organic and natural. I'll read them slowly, so if you'd like to write them down, you can. Remember, this is recorded, so you can go back and listen to it. Paradox, pairs of opposites. In spiritual terms, the recognition of duality, of paradox, is considered sacred. The first paradox that Kent Keith brings forward is people are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered. Love them anyway. If you do good, people will accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Do good anyway. If you are successful, you will win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. The good you do today will be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Honesty and frankness make you vulnerable. Be honest and frank anyway. The biggest men and women with the biggest ideas can be shot down by the smallest men and women with the smallest minds. Think big anyway. People favor underdogs, but follow only top dogs. Fight for a few underdogs anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. People really need help, but may attack you if you do help them. Help people anyway. Give the world the best you have, and you'll get kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best you have anyway. Friends, I share these sacred paradoxes with you as a way of inspiring your own mind, your own wisdom, as a way of breathing life into your impeccable bodhicitta, that soft, wounded heart within you, uniquely you. As a way of reminding you that on your journey of life and on your journey of recovery, I feel confident in saying that we all have experiences where we've done something good for ourselves and someone is right there so quick to shut us down. Likewise, we have also been in situations where we've shut other people down. We never mean to, but it happens. So every time we've shut someone down, we look at our intentions, we look at how our actions and words have been misinterpreted or misconstrued. So that when we're on the receiving end of someone shutting us down, someone negating our actions, we remember, this could be a situation of misinterpretation, confusing someone's good intention with perhaps an unskillful action or unskillful words. Many people on the journey of recovery are abandoned by their using friends. If we're sober, we're no longer any fun, according to some people. Likewise, many people on the journey of recovery find themselves in positions of constantly having to prove themselves. I've quit using a particular substance, and yet, is my abstinence good enough? I've broken trust a number of times. How many times do I have to prove that I'm a trustworthy person? If we put this in the context of a paradox and we say, oh, right, I've broken a trust and now I'm learning to be trustworthy and people still don't trust me, keep working to be trustworthy anyway. Why? Because creating the positive in life is infinitely better than engaging anything that is painful, harming, negative. So the paradoxes remind us what we can do to nurture and feed the seeds of goodness, the seeds that align with our intention and our motivation to heal, to transform, and to be of benefit to the people we love, to the communities we serve, to the collective soul of humanity, and the spirit of all sentient beings. You cannot explore duality, paradoxes as they live in you, conflicts as they live in you, with equanimity, without the other three qualities. Said another way, you cannot explore these conflicting aspects of yourself that make you a whole human being with any hope of gaining wisdom and healing without loving kindness, compassion, and joy. And if you're lucky, you have a Kalyana Mitra, which means wise friend, who can very gently, nobly, honestly, frankly point out to you aspects of yourself that you cannot see yourself. Things that are so close to you, they're on the end of your nose. And no wonder you can't see them. They're on the end of your nose. We need other people to point out these conflicts, to point out these qualities within us. They humble us. They soften us. They open us to practice loving kindness, compassion, joy. We learn to laugh at ourselves more. And in doing so, we're less defensive. We're less inclined to be self-protective, which actually inhibits our growth. And so when we can soften, when we can lighten up a little bit and laugh at ourselves, it gets easier to be kind and compassionate toward ourselves and by extension toward others. We see the clumsiness in others. We see the unskillfulness in others. We see people acting like dorks and jerks. And then we giggle a little because we're like, oh yeah, that's me too. I know that place. May I learn from all my unskillfulness. May I learn from my wobbly nature with the intention to grow stronger, to anchor deeply in the groundedness of this practice, in the openness of this practice, in the spaciousness of this practice. May my wise efforts and actions be of benefit to all beings everywhere. That is the intention and the motivation of exploring sacred paradoxes within each of us as a practice and the cultivation of equanimity. We'll end our practice today, friends, with a chant in honor of Shakyamuni Buddha. This is a chant that I will sing for you 3 times. If you know this chant, you can sing along with me. It's a very beautiful chant. May I sing it beautifully as well. Tayata o muni muni maha muni soha. Tayata o muni muni maha muni soha. Tayata o muni muni maha muni soha. Let's go ahead, friends, and end our practice today with a dedication of merit. This is a mantra that I wrote that I'd like to share with you today, and this is about the cultivation of compassion and loving kindness and joy and equanimity. This is a mantra of the 4 limitless qualities. Loving you, I learn to better love myself. Loving myself, I learn to better love you. Thank you so much for your beautiful practice, friends. We'll see you next time. Namaste.